from. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some, but we got no time to waste.
Welcome to 4AZ. I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken. It is day 3 of our very special 4-part winter film series. I'm here with Sarah Beth and Mike Steph to relive, to review our favorite school-related films. All right, you two, it's a big moment for me. I've been waiting to discuss this film. We are traveling back in time to 1988, in which a film, a Spike Lee joint entitled School Daze, was released. Some quick background on this film, and then we will get into our conversation. It's directed by Spike Lee, as I mentioned, and it explores the dynamics of student life at an HBCU, at a historically Black college, during homecoming week. Big time. The story follows Vaughn Dap Dunlap, a politically active senior who leads a protest against the university's involvement with apartheid in South Africa. However, his efforts, easy for me to say, are interrupted by the Gamma Phi Gamma fraternity, led by Julian, aka Big Brother Almighty, played by the outstanding Giancarlo Esposito. Lawrence Fishburne is also fantastic as well, as I mentioned earlier. Now, the film delves into topics such as identity, social responsibility, and the complexities of navigating group dynamics within the African American community and the larger diaspora, highlighting conflicts between activists and those who prefer to conform to traditional norms. Sarah Beth, Mike Steph, there is so much to say about this film. I will do my best to be efficient because I really want to know what you think. But I got to talk about why I chose this film. What it gets right first about school. Okay, number one, because now we're transitioning from elementary, high school age. If you haven't already and you're listening or watching us, please be sure you check out episode 1 and episode 2 of our Winter Film series. Episode 1, Mike Steph selected 1981's Bustin' Loose. And then yesterday, for day 2, episode 2 of our film series, Sarah Beth chose 1983's The Outsiders. But we are moving on up to college now. The kids have graduated and we are in the world of higher education. I'm going to look at my notes here. What the film gets right. Activism on college campuses. Now, I did not attend an HBCU. I strongly considered it. That's a whole other episode, but I ended up attending the University of Arizona in Tucson, a place that I love dearly to this day. Activism, big on college campuses. We know this. The Greek life experience. I have so many people I adore in my life, friends and family, who did attend and graduate from HBCUs. And so I'm leaning on their experience and what I know. Shout out to Dr. Erica McDowell, love you cuz, who attended Howard. The Greek life experience, in terms of the pros being the community that I've heard about that you can develop within Greek life, but then also the pressure, the hazing historically that we know has been documented within a lot of these organizations. I want to tiptoe lightly around this because I know I know my friends and family who are entrenched in and who are members of the Divine Nine would tell me to pump my brakes and say, yo, there's a distinction to be made between the larger Greek life organizations that you see on a lot of the school websites for predominantly white institutions, including U of A. But then there's the experience of the Divine Nine. So I see you. I love you all. We're going to talk in just a moment. The personalities, the sheer volume of personalities that you see at a college campus. I mean, it's just, it's such an awakening. It's such a valuable experience because you just meet so many different people at college. I often think about my experience being blessed enough to go to college right after high school and go to a large public university. And I think I'm a better person now because of those interactions, because of those classmates, because of those neighbors I had in the dorms who were just from all walks of life. It really helped me grow. And finally, what the film gets right, the self-discovery of it all. Yes, you go to college and you pay thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands of dollars for that paper, for that degree, for those learning experiences. But it really is that invaluable self-discovery element that I think is really the investment you're putting in if you decide to go to college. You just learn a lot about yourself. You got to go through some things, the ebbs and flows of, say, ages 18 to 22. You're just figuring a lot out. And I just look back at my college experience incredibly fondly. What it gets wrong or embellishes, before I kick it to you two, I really want to hear your thoughts on this part. The fits. 1980s. This is Hollywood. This is a Spike Lee joint. People were not dressing like that when I was at U of A. Nor do I think college kids are coming up with such fantastic ensembles from a fashion standpoint. That's just not a thing. But the ensemble cast in School Days, they were serving looks. I put this in all caps in my notes here. They were serving looks throughout the movies. Again, it's set in the 80s, but the fashion sense from that time, I would argue, is long gone, unfortunately. I don't know when it left us, but you don't go to college and see kids and see students dressing the way that they did in School Days, unfortunately. Before I get to my overall thoughts on the film and what it would look like if it were made today, should it be remade, I should say, in 2025. Mike Steph, we'll start with you and then we'll kick it to Sarah Beth. What did you think of this Spike Lee joint from '88?
Um, it's been a while since I've seen this movie. I've seen it in a lot of times, but I have seen it. This is the first time I've seen it through the eyes of a 49-year-old with experience, with children, with just a whole bunch of different experiences that I have now that didn't have when I first saw it the previous couple times. So there was a lot of things I caught up on. I mean, I caught now. Um, Trivial part would be the fashion sense. Wow, you could say it's embellished, but the time or the semesters that I was in college, because I can't even say years, because I went spring, then I took the fall off, then I went spring again, and then life happened. So, but I know when I went to college on campus, so to speak, back in mid '90s. Listen, it was a fashion show. Like you went there because number one, especially back then, I don't know how it is now. It's probably even worse now. But back then, um, you get that financial aid money, you get that refund check.
Hey, we up.
Especially if everything else is taken care of and the bursar office call you like, yeah, you got to pick up this check and you see a couple $1,000. First thing I did, I went to Macy's. I got fly like a mother effer.
The bursar's office.
Listen,
And there plenty of times.
So
Over on Euclid
I did
University
what
Boulevard.
I did. One thing that I can say, skipping ahead a little bit, would be that probably wouldn't be able to. You know what? The most important thing I have to say is the end of the movie, right? Now, I went to high school in Brooklyn Tech, which is in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, which was right across the street from Spike Lee's store, 40 Acres, right? So, this movie came out 88, 89. I was in high school at 90. So, literally it was like smacking my face, right? Now, the one thing I'll say about the ending where Dap goes around and he's pretty much going around campus yelling, "Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" Now, two things. One, there was a KRS-One song, Black Man in Effect, pretty much under the moniker of the Boogie Down Productions. And the beginning of that song was "Wake up, take the pillow from your head and put a book in it," right? And that was kind of a parody. Well, not so much parody, but that was a take off of School Days. The thing about that and the scene where they're in the beauty salon, where you got the W's and the P's, right? In a lot of ways, okay. Hopefully he can edit this out. So the W's in the movie was called wannabes, right? And the P's were called pickaninnies, right? Based on which called complexion of the skin. The wannabes were lighter shade, and the pickaninnies were darker shade. And there was a lot of other slang and slurs that they were saying to each other. I'm like, I'm going to refrain from saying that on this platform. But if you think about it now, and this is a movie that's almost 40 years old, 38 years old, right? Think about it now. To a certain degree, there is a divide. still not along so much um skin color pigmentation or whatever. It's not so much there in the which go in the African American community, but natural versus to a certain degree embellished. You know, just I'll just keep it as in for hairstyles, right? You have a lot of females who are more into the wigs or the eyelashes, the which go Dr. Miami to a certain degree. If you know, you know, right? And then you have there's a contingent that's growing now that's more into the natural look, into the sister locks, into stuff that is more holistic, you know. But what we see in our reflection on the screen and entertainment and mostly in entertainment, it's a lot of, to a certain degree, the W's. The W's have won to a certain degree for visibility, but yeah, I'm not gonna go as deep as I really want to go in, but that scene itself, unfortunately, I don't think that would be allowed now because of the ferocity of the argument back and forth of what they were calling each other back and forth. Like you had Jasmine Guy in it, you had Tisha Campbell in it, right?
Just an outstanding ensemble. Tisha Campbell,
yeah, I mean,
Jasmine Guy, Spike Lee
you had
obviously is a part of the ensemble. Just a great cast.
yeah, you had a lot of the main characters from different world, which coincidentally
Yes.
was based on HBCU, right?
Yeah, Hillman.
So it's a lot of intermingling if you think about it. I think that was the first year that Different World came out. So I was looking, I'm like, I had to do a double check. But
a lot of crossover.
the bottom line is this movie, I don't think this movie could be made right now and not be corrupted or co-opted and the message be dulled, because looking at it from 40 years, looking back in the past 40 years, like a lot of what the message they were trying to get out, I got it, but now I think it would be in order for it to be roundly viewed, it would have to be watered down, and therefore the message wouldn't get there. I mean, you got social media and stuff, which would be a positive and a negative. You got ways that you can reenact it on YouTube or whatever, positive and negatively. But for it to be a box office film with the backing behind it, because look, I'm quite sure if I'm not mistaken, Spike Lee caught a lot of flack for this film when it came out. And that was in the 80s. I mean, Spike Lee was kind of still newer in the Hollywood scene, so he didn't have the cachet that he has now. But yeah, I just bottom line like that.
Yeah, well, and you two know that was brilliant, Mike Steph. Thank you. You two know my affinity for Spike Lee. He's in the background every time during our recording. This was also pre Do the Right Thing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure Do the Right Thing came out at least a year or two, if not longer, after. I can't believe these films are approaching 40 years. That's surreal. Before we kick to Sarah Beth, I just want to bounce off what you said, Mike. In my notes at the end here, I wrote the vibrancy of this film is something I really love. Just the depth of who the characters are and how they're developed. So many colors. I'm a sucker for a great piece of poster art. So the poster art of this film is iconic. It's what originally drew me to this. But Mike, like you said, I'm trying to think of what would more recent comps for School Daze be. We had Stomp the Yard, which came out many moons ago. You remember Drumline with Nick Cannon? Like, we've had some films about college and even the Black college experience, but there's been nothing quite like School Daze, which I think in fact speaks to its brilliance. I love this movie. I would love for a remake to occur, or for us to get something on the big screen that feels as real as this one does, that takes chances the way Spike Lee did, the way that you alluded to, Mike, as Spike Lee is known for in many of his films, certainly including in Do the Right Thing. I love the musical of it all. I don't know that a lot of people remember, or maybe a passive audience member would forget that this is actually a musical. There's
Mhm.
lots of singing going on in this film, which is really fantastic.
Mhm.
And like finally, like any classic Spike Lee joint, as you pointed out, Mike, it has a real message by the end. Wake up, wake up. Why are we treating each other like this? Again, this is revisiting Greek life hazing. And I won't speak too in depth because that is not my experience. Again, an HBCU degree is not my experience either. But I have seen, particularly attending U of A and just being around the higher education world, hazing is a thing or has been a thing in many Greek life organizations. So how we see this played out through Gamma Phi Gamma, and there have been stories across the nation about hazing even within Divine Nine organizations, within historically Black fraternities and sororities. So for Spike Lee to shine a light on that and to call that out in such a visible way, like you said, Mike, going back to 1988, pre-social media and YouTube, was incredibly brave and courageous of him. And then finally, I wanted to jump back in, Mike, because you said this brilliantly. The colorism element of the plot certainly was occurring when I was in college, and still to this day, how sometimes on campuses or even within our community, online, offline, we can kind of pit each other against each other. Lighter skinned folks versus darker skinned folks. That's a whole other conversation to have. So the way that Spike Lee so artfully uh, sh- shined a light on these really relevant, important topics to the Black community, specifically through this lens of these different students at an HBCU. I mean, bravo, Spike. If you ever want to come on the podcast, there's an open invitation. My DMs are open. Our DMs are open. We would love to have you on to talk about this classic film. That's enough talking out of me. Sarah Beth, we covered a lot already.
Good.
How did School Daze land for you?
I really enjoyed it. So I had not seen it. I don't actually watch a lot of movies because in my head I'm like, oh, I have to sit for 2 hours. I can't. I'd rather
Listen,
watch I'd rather watch
I
four
get
30
it.
minutes episode of something than watch a
I get it.
movie. So I've
Yeah.
watched more movies for this, but like what I've
Thank you.
taken away and walked away from with both Bust and Loose and School Days is I'm one just like genuinely, I don't know if impressed. I don't know what word I want right now. Because going into it, there's a lot of pieces that one I'm obviously not going to speak on because like they're things I can't relate to, being a very white middle class. Even just the college experience, I opted for kind of an alternate route, so I did community college and then I did distance campus. So like I never was on like a big college campus. So there's a lot of pieces that like outside looking in, it feels like, oh, I wouldn't relate, but there is so much within that was told so beautifully. Like one DAP right off the back, right? Like advocacy is one of my biggest things. And it's hard when you very much care about something that is affecting other people and people don't care like you do. Like, and it's hard. It's hard when you see there's a need that needs to be met and you're trying to get people to care and they either care or they're empathetic. But like, because one of the scenes that really stuck out to me was when it's early on after the first demonstration and he's in the dorm room with his friends and he's asking them if they're going to go to another demonstration or something, but they all want to go to like a party. And like it was just this thing for him. It's like, no, but like this has to be addressed. We have to do something. And I do a lot of activism, especially surrounded public education, and it can be really hard even when I'm just talking to my coworkers of like, hey, I need you to like show up to this board meeting because what they're voting on affects us, and we can't like. It's a hard when you want to make change, but the change that has to be made. You can't do it alone. And so like I really related to DAP in a lot of those ways. And then with the university kind of like telling him like keep it up and we're gonna expel you. Like just those pieces, right? Of like we know this, like people that tend to be like outspoken are the ones that they tend to like draw trouble or like authority doesn't always like. And so like there was a lot of pieces within where I really felt like I could relate, even though all of my, you know, experiences aren't relatable, but like I really related a lot to DAP. And I think too, like the hazing, one of the things like I kept thinking about was how that part today, kids are so focused, or because they even talk about like kids don't like dance. And when I say kids, like I mean like college kids, like when they go out, like everyone is so afraid of being recorded and put on social media that like they don't do anything. They're not going to get up, like because they're so afraid of like being embarrassed. And that was one of the things like I kept thinking about with like a lot of the hazing was one, I mean, I just don't understand that like mentality of like wanting to be a part of a group so bad that like you're doing things like that. Like I don't quite get that. But one of the things I kept thinking about was like how today's kids are so afraid of being embarrassed that they won't try. And then the other thing, as much as I hated this scene, I think it was really well told at the end when, and I can't think of anyone's names right now, but Dap's cousin goes into the bone room with Brother Almighty's girlfriend. And like just the way in which, right, she so badly wanted to be accepted. And like he's telling her, like, well, if you want to be accepted by me and your sorority, you have to do this thing that she clearly didn't want to do. She did not consent to that. You know, Dap's cousin wants to be accepted. So he like, it was just this way in which like those things of like consent and like how it was told, where, you know, and then even at the end where, you know, the cousin goes to Dap and Dap's like, what do you mean you did that? Like, and knowing, right? Like they're, you know, late teens, early 20s, brains are not fully developed. Like when you're so desperate for community and acceptance that you're, and I was like willing, like I don't think he did it with like the intent to hurt her, like, but the way in which that storyline, as awful of a storyline it was, that's like a very real thing a lot of people have experienced. And I think it was told very well of like, it didn't take away like, and the ramifications of it. Like Dap wants nothing to do with his cousin because he did that. Like, and so I really enjoyed, I started to say do the right thing, and it's only because I can see part of your poster behind you.
Hey, it's with us always. It's always present. Thank you, Spike. Yeah, Sarah Beth, before we
very well told.
Yeah, absolutely. That key word of community. You know, I think it's what you said is so powerful because I was in college. I'll never forget. I was in college when Trayvon Martin was murdered, and seeing the advocacy across campus from student leaders who just sprung into action, it was really remarkable and incredibly inspiring. And again, for Spike Lee to release this piece of art in '88, it again speaks to his brilliance, and it's a film that I'm so grateful we discussed on this podcast. That was fantastic. Thank you both so much. And thank you all for tuning in. We'd love to know what you think of School Daze. We know you have thoughts out there. You can drop us a comment here on YouTube or reach us across the social spaces at 4AZ Teach. We will see you tomorrow for our winter film finale. It will be a special extended exit ticket episode in which we discuss films from the 2000s. Bring it on. Mean Girls, Superbad, and we may throw a few surprises in there. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you then.